Okay, how on earth does a company's profit jump more than 272% in a single year? I mean, that's just a staggering number. Well, today, we're going to dig into the fintech company that just did exactly that, and we're going to figure out their secret. Let's get into it.
So first, you gotta wrap your head around the sheer scale of this thing. In just the third quarter of this year, a company called Figure Technology Solutions saw $2.5 billion in loan volume on its marketplace. Just to give you some perspective, that's more than the GDP of some entire countries, processed in just 3 months. Wild. And look, that massive number, it isn't just a one-off, it's actually a 70% increase from the same time last year. So we're not just talking about growth here, this is like hyper acceleration. But believe it or not, that's not even the most impressive number. This is the big one. The company's net income, its actual profit, skyrocketed an incredible 272% compared to last year, hitting $90 million. Now, a number like that just doesn't happen by accident. It really makes you wonder, right? How did they pull this off? What is the secret sauce behind this kind of explosive growth? Well, that is the central question we're going to unpack today. And it's a really fascinating story about a total game-changing strategic pivot. All right, so to understand the secret, we first have to get a handle on the business itself. Who is Figure and what do they actually do? Figure is a pretty big player in the consumer loan world, and they made a huge splash back in September when they went public, raising over $660 million. So they've got some serious momentum. Now, when we say consumer loans, what we're really talking about, for the most part, is one thing: home equity lines of credit, or HELOCs. That is the absolute cornerstone of Figure's business. Yeah, they're starting to dabble in new stuff like crypto-backed loans, but HELOCs are their bread and butter. And if we zoom in on their core product, you can see they offer their own Figure-branded HELOCs, but they also work through partners. The terms are pretty similar, as you can see. Interest rates hovering around 9% and loan terms stretching out for about 25 years. This is the engine that's been keeping the lights on at Figure for a while. So, okay, if they're mostly just a HELOC lender, how in the world did they pull off that insane 272% profit jump? Well, this is where the story gets really interesting. It's all about a massive strategic shift they made. See, originally, Figure acted kind of like a traditional bank. They used their own money, their own balance sheet, to fund the loans. And that's super expensive, not to mention risky. But then they made this brilliant pivot. They shifted to a fee-based marketplace model. They became a platform that just connects other lenders with capital. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Here it is, straight from their CEO, Michael Tannenbaum. He said this new model is just way more profitable. They're making money on fees by connecting people, and they don't have to risk their own capital on every single loan. It's just a much smarter, way more efficient, capital-light way of doing business. So, what is this technology that's powering their awesome marketplace model? Well, this right here is the core of their secret. It's a platform they built called Figure Connect. And this thing isn't just growing, it is absolutely exploding. The loan volume flowing through Figure Connect jumped from $767 million in just the second quarter to over $1.1 billion in the third. This platform is the engine driving their entire business forward at warp speed. So what makes Figure Connect so special? It's built on something called blockchain native assets. Now, don't let the jargon scare you off. Just think of it like this. Instead of a big, messy paper trail for every loan, they turn each loan into a standardized digital Lego block. And once they're all the same shape and size, they become incredibly easy to stack, sort, buy, and sell. So here's how it all works in 3 simple steps. First, Figure's partners, banks, mortgage lenders, they create their own loans like they always do. Second, those loans get turned into those standard digital Lego blocks on the Figure Connect platform. And third, and this is the magic part, those partners can now sell those assets directly to big investors. Figure is basically the bridge that makes it all happen. Okay, so that's the secret, a capital-light, blockchain-powered marketplace. Pretty cool. But what does this all mean for the entire world of finance? Why is this such a big deal? 246. That's how many active partners are already using this ecosystem. So, this isn't some little niche experiment happening off in a corner. The industry is clearly buying into this, and they're doing it fast. And just look at who these partners are. We're not talking about small-time shops here. We're talking about established banks, credit unions, more than half of the top 20 independent mortgage lenders in the country, and even one of the biggest loan servicers in the nation. This is mainstream adoption happening right before our eyes.
So let's bring it all together. What Figure has basically done is build a new, much more efficient set of financial plumbing. They've created this super profitable digital highway that connects everybody in the lending world, from your local credit union all the way up to a giant Wall Street investor. And it just makes everything faster and cheaper for everyone.
And this all leads us to the final really provocative question. Figure has proven this model works incredibly well for home equity loans. But could this be the blueprint for everything else? Could this standardized blockchain-based marketplace become the future for how all loans, from mortgages to car loans to business loans, are bought and sold? That, my friends, is the billion-dollar question.